Well, yeah.
Go into the test. Okay, kick it off.
Testing.
Hang on.
You're an idiot.
I know, but give more of a break between me saying kick it off and the testing so you can sort of cut.
I'm the editor.
You just said there wasn't enough room to put the intro music
I'll
in.
show you enough fucking room.
This is the intro.
I'll show you the intro.
Welcome back to the Woah podcast. This is Steven.
This is Aaron.
And this is Max.
And today we have another special guest. Some may know him as Jesse. Some may know him as Jessup. I know him as my college roommate, a man who his junior year in high school blocked 2 defensive tackles at one time. He's the creator of the Jesse Jerk, went deep sea fishing with glow squid for amberjack, and pound for pound, the greatest sandwich maker on earth, Jesse Graves.
Thank you. Hold your applause.
How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
All right. Been a while since we've really gotten to sit down and go over some old war stories.
Yeah, they still hurt.
I know there's one thing in particular that has come up while texting with you and while talking with Aaron. And so we're going to kick the podcast off with a little tit for tat, if you will. And tell me about these pastries.
Listen, it's a long-standing human debate over what actually is a pastry. What is a pastry? You go to a pastry shop, there's a lot of things in that glass case. But are they really pastries? Is a cookie a pastry? Does it just have to be baked? I don't know. Me and Aaron have talked about this a lot over
At length.
over
Yeah.
no conclusion. has come
None?
from this conversation.
So you guys haven't is there a spirited moment where you say one thing and
I think we agreed on the airy consistency. It
Yeah,
has to
okay,
have an
so like
airy
a donut,
consistency.
right?
Yeah.
But
Okay.
there's also a cake donut. Same shape, same baking, or actually frying method. But is it a pastry?
But it's not as airy.
It's not as
Very dense.
Yeah.
well then you go somewhere that has croissant donuts
well, yeah,
and now you're aired up.
a cronut, if you will. It's,
Right, that's what they call
Which,
it. Okay, so we're gonna say cake, no.
it's very dense.
Cookies are out.
Cookies are out.
You can't.
But what if
call
you
it
had a
cookies.
cake with enough fluff in
Like a pound cake. There's so much fluff.
There's a lot of fluff there. It's very fluffy.
Okay, so we're going
I think
no.
that's just because it's a light material.
Well, that's the thing.
So is it like a croissant?
Listen,
Yeah, but there's not as much air in a pound cake as a croissant. Not even close. It's just a light material.
Like a croissant is like the cake world's version of a bag of chips.
What?
No, I think I know where he's going with
Yeah,
this.
all that air.
there's a lot of air going on in there. Same with a glazed donut, right? It's more dense than a croissant, but there's definitely air in there.
I mean, we can look up the definition of a pastry if that would help.
Oh, it would help.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
going to
mean-
say it's going to actually.
It'll never solve.
It'll never solve this.
No,
Okay.
this will be a lifelong discussion.
Well, I just know while he's looking it up, I just know that I was texting you about being on the show, and the first thing that you brought up was the pastry situation. I tell Aaron that Jesse's coming on the show. The first thing out of his mouth is a pastry, not the physical.
I think the last at least 7 times that I've seen Aaron,
Yep.
it's come up somehow in
And
conversation.
it's always been at a social gathering,
And someone's eating something and it was just like,
Yeah.
is that a pastry?
and then we separate ourselves from the party. Everyone's having a good time, and me and you are back and forth about pastry.
And it's questionable if we're actually having a bad time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
yes.
having a good time.
So that reminds me, you saying that, you guys separate yourselves. We did this, the 3 of us. And there were a few other people sprinkled in. We were at an ugly Christmas sweater party,
All right.
and we moved ourselves. Okay, this is when I realized that moment. Everybody around there is pounding beer like it's the end of the world. Me, Jesse, Aaron, and a few other people were debating the pecking order of Gatorade flavors.
Oh, yeah. That was. And then we got into there's Gatorade, there's Body Armor,
Body
there's,
armor's
there's even Powerade if that's your thing.
Right. Which is Let's be clear.
It's just-
I mean, if outside of blue Powerade, if you're drinking other Powerades,
See, now that's where I disagree. Outside of grape Powerade. And
I
more
do like
specifically, Powerade Zero.
Okay, before we get too deep on this, I'm going to give you this very vague description they give me.
Which is Aaron's way of saying he doesn't agree.
No, it's vague.
You can't
The
even spell
word
vague.
pastries suggests many kinds of baked products made from ingredients such as flour, sugar, milk, butter, shortening, baking powder, and eggs. Small tarts and other sweet baked goods are called pastries, and this is where they really get mad. Common pastry dishes include pies, tarts, quiches, croissants, and, wait for the and, pastries. How are you going to tell me common pastry dishes include pastries?
Okay, I thought pie was making you mad, and I was going to say it is in a pastry.
No, it literally says and pastries.
and this is from Webster's Dictionary.
This is that one's from Wikipedia. The other one was really short. The one from the actual dictionary is an item of food consisting of sweet pastry with a cream, jam, or fruit filling.
So
Even,
scones?
even worse.
Oh,
Yeah.
scones are definitely a pastry.
Well, yeah,
Here's-
scones are just biscuits full of candy.
And
Let's
it just
just
says a dough.
Ooh, I like that description.
That's
I mean,
candy shit.
Are you talking about the biscuits full of chocolate chips? Yes, I'll take
Yeah,
it. Can
Scone.
we put syrup on those too, or is that a problem?
Come on,
There's also savory scones with oysters inside. If you think there's
if you go just off the basic definition, anything that at one point is in a dough state is a pastry. And it's that. I mean, it's quiche.
Wait, is a
and quiche, pizza and quiche. Now you're adding salt to this.
Yeah,
You're
yes.
literally putting salt in the wound, right?
it's
Salt and cookies.
so they're
Right.
limiting it
It's a
to
loaf
the
of
bread.
Bread,
Didn't you just-
bread,
and pastry.
Yeah, it says
I mean, at one point it's a
flour, dough, shortening.
bread is a pastry.
You put those things together, you got bread.
And
Jesse's got a sandwich.
I've got a sandwich for you.
you know, I know somebody. Maybe not top his sandwich making skills, but his sandwich intake.
Well,
Wow.
we don't talk about.
Dude doesn't eat anything but sandwich.
Okay, no. So here's
Okay,
the
but
thing.
you're sitting here trying to tell me
Yeah.
that Jared from Subway ate less sandwiches than your friend Cole. I don't even know this Cole guy anyway, but
Well,
Jared's in jail. If you
yeah,
think it's
for
because
touching children, not sandwiches.
yeah, but he also because he robbed several Subways even though he had the card. There were children in there. Don't
Is
let me
that-
lie to you.
Why he's not the kid?
No, it's,
Oh no, he totally touched a shitload of kids. There's no doubt about it.
Speaking of,
Oh yeah, it was 100. It's not even 99%. It's 100%.
you have people.
But also, he ate lots of sandwiches. Lots.
he ate less sandwiches. That's why he lost weight.
well, no, he just
No, he actually just ate the sandwiches and lied.
fried chicken.
Yeah. He replaced the bread on the outside of the fried chicken with the bread with meat on the inside.
Did you know? Speaking of touching kids, that people still deny that Michael Jackson touched kids.
Oh yeah, that'll be going on.
Dude touched kids. You can't just have kids to the Neverland Ranch and be alone with them
Big Peter Man.
and then go on live
Hey.
television and say, "Yeah, I love sharing beds with children," and then not touch kids. I mean,
Even further and say like he definitely touched him. Now
I mean, look what he did to Macaulay Culkin. He looks awful.
he ruined that kid. Ruined it.
He's bad. He used to be a great actor. And now he's a crack.
Is he on crack though?
Have you seen him?
I mean,
He has the
looks-
appearance. He definitely has the appearance of.
He
a
looks
crack.
like he spent the last 10 years trying out for The Walking Dead.
No, he
Yes,
definitely
and
looks
actually-
like he fell asleep in a garbage disposal. There's no doubt.
so let's talk the sandwich thing because I don't really know when I noticed it. So background. Jesse and I,
The origin story of the sandwiches.
well, no, the origin story of the Jesse Steve duo was so his dad owned an aquarium store. Reptiles. They didn't just sell aquariums. They
Well,
also
that's-
sold things that went in it.
Early on, It was mostly just fish.
Mostly just fish. Yeah. And so they the guy that they bought, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this has to be the way. The guy you bought that your mom and dad bought the aquarium store from knew my dad really well because my dad was an aquarium guy, and they had put their business attached to my mom and dad's business.
Yeah, so Jeff, the guy that they bought it from, already had the business
at my mom and dad's.
Correct.
Right. So Jesse's mom and dad buy it, they move in, and that was pretty early. Like we were really young.
Plus, we also were in second grade together.
We were. And that was about the time, right? Like,
because no, it would have been about fourth grade.
Okay.
But, I still got the picture from the Halloween party at Steven's house.
Hey, those Halloween parties were...
We got the dopest popsicle stick frame you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, hay rides. All the good stuff. So Jesse and I could grow up together. We ended up playing soccer together. We ended up obviously playing football together. And then we both went to Murray State where we were roommates. I'll have to have Jesse talk more about the college experience, mostly because
he was drunk.
Yeah, I was drunk the whole time. I don't really remember.
That's what college is for.
The one story that there are two stories. One of which was so Jesse and I's dorm room was it was the premier place to be.
The 306.
The 306. So that's where the free gaming always took place. And it always started out like, me and Jesse, we're going to throw a few back.
Yeah.
Okay, then a few people would trickle in.
And this door knocks later.
This is like a TV style college dorm room. Okay, they're not the fancy ones that has the bathroom attached. Not the ones with the little common area shared by two. No. It was a bunk bed, 2 dressers, and 2 little closets, and a vanity sink.
Look, I'll rephrase that. It was a broom closet with a slop sink that probably had old paint and chemicals in it when we got there.
So we couldn't really fit. Also, it didn't help that we stole a couch from the study guide. We wanted a place to sit.
There was no signs that say no stealing couches.
There was, yeah. At one point, but at one point, didn't we just start moving furniture?
Yeah, we didn't like it. The furniture. Well, first off,
the layout was bad.
We took a trip to the second or fourth floor. At the time, we knew nobody, but we did know that they had a very comfortable couch in there, and it was a 2-seater. The one in our lounge was a 3-seater. Wouldn't fit.
Right.
It's logistically not going to happen.
Right.
So we went up there and took it, and then we felt bad. We were like, we took their couch. So we knew that at that point that all the people we met on the second floor, just the worst kind of people. So we're like, well, what we'll do, since they're the worst, they don't sit probably. They probably only stand. They sleep standing up. That's got to be the only explanation.
Yeah, they're sure.
But basically, they're all Dracula. And they look like it, too. Probably because they were anemic and didn't move. But, no, so we went and got their couch and moved it upstairs. And then I think when we were down there, we realized there was something else we would like to have. So we did that and basically just rearranged everything.
So the funny, we would just take these couches and 18, 19, I'm not going to take the stairs.
Oh, no, they're in the elevator.
So we drag them in the elevator, and we'd be pushing the buttons, and we'd be going up, and it would stop. No, not good. It would just open up, and there'd just be somebody standing there staring at it. I don't think you're going to be able to get on this one. Catch the next one around. Hit the button.
It worked out good for us, though. That's the moral of the story.
It would go from a few people having some drinks to get ready to go out to at one point, and I don't even know where it came from. There was one of those little disco balls. We'd shut the lights off and we'd be playing a game.
Where did that come from?
No idea.
We had the Christmas lights.
We did have the Christmas lights.
They were on sale. We were broke.
Yeah.
Well, as long as you got a good deal.
No,
they weren't on one of the other floors.
So we've got all this stuff going on, and we came up with punishment pong, and really it was more of a necessity than we wanted to play this because we didn't have room for a big table. So punishment pong was much smaller cups.
Okay.
And then you had the shot cup in the middle.
Right.
And if you make it in the shot cup, then you have to take 2 shots. Ooh, so this game would get going, and then before you know it, so okay, I definitely couldn't do this stuff anymore. Not just the drinking, the party, the going out when we did. Like, we wouldn't leave until, 11?
Yeah, it was rough.
Crazy.
You need to change that.
So, hang on. So, we're playing. All of a sudden, we're all hammered. And most of the time, we would end up leaving. If we left at all, we'd leave at like midnight, 12:30. Like, blacked out before we left. Well, one time, we're playing, and I was going to go do something. I can't remember what it was. And were you in the room when Josh busted us?
Yeah. Well, remember, we were, let's see. So that's when he busted us with the liquor, right?
All the way.
Okay. So that was actually, we were pretty sober at the time because he caught us off guard.
I wasn't in there. Remember, I was downstairs.
No, you weren't. You were downstairs. No, so that was me and a bunch of other people. And we had one rule. Don't prop the fucking door open. Don't open our door and leave it open. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
People stand in the doorway with the door open. Were you born in a barn? Get out of here.
Shut it.
Shut the
and that
door.
was multifaceted.
Yeah.
One, because we had no control over the temperature. So we would shut the door and open the window and let all the cool air in.
Yeah, because it was Satan's taint on that.
It was so bad. So I'm downstairs and I'm like, oh, well, time to go back upstairs. We're going to keep this thing going and then we're going to go out. I get off of the elevator. And so one thing that kind of has to be explained is you get off the elevator and you take a left. The elevator is in its own room. Okay. Doors on either side that go to either side of the building. So I get off of the elevator, you turn left, you open the door, and as soon as you open the door, there's the RA's room, and this is going to not make sense to everybody why we did this. RA's room, and then literally right next to him is our room. So you just have to kind of go a little bit at an angle to the right.
Right.
I open the door, I turn around, and there's the resident director standing in the doorway, and I was like, shit.
Yeah, I think you were around the corner. You were like, uh-oh, and just like went around the corner. But the thing of it was because we got so fucked up the night before we left everything out.
Uh-huh.
And someone left the door open, and he just looks in and goes, I know I didn't see what I just saw.
And at that point,
I really wish I could tell you didn't.
Right. So I come around the corner, and I'm like, well, might as well eat this one.
Right.
And he was like, collect everything up, put it in a trash bag. Get everything in a trash bag. And he's like, now come with me. And I don't know why I was the only one who had to go. I did have a bit of a reputation.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute.
So I take this trash bag. I mean, this is a construction trash bag that is full.
It's full.
I mean, it's
and
like,
in fact, the funny thing, it didn't even have all of it.
Well, no. So you go throw it away, right? I throw the stuff away. And Josh, the rest looks at me and he was like, throw it all in the dumpster. And I'm like, as I'm throwing it in, I'm thinking, I'm being kicked out of college. There's just no way around it.
Right. Yeah.
I'm in a dry county. I'm a toddler. And I'm drunk. Like, this is not a good look.
No.
So I throw it away and he goes, he's like, I didn't see anything. Don't let me not see anything again. And I was like, I walk back up into the room. Jesse goes, you missed something. I was like, perfect.
Yeah, we just loaded up backpacks. That wasn't obvious at all.
And
backpacks with just lumps all over them.
So we sitting at the front desk. We've got backpacks on it. They're just getting busted. It's 11:30, midnight, and he goes, "Where are you guys going?" To which I, without missing a beat, said, "Head to the library to study," and just kept her moving.
Because we were like, we can't. They were in Tupperwares that we kept all our stuff in because we were like, well, they're going to see this because it was by the gallon, right? So it's like we just have empty gallons of vodka and whatever random stuff people would bring us, and so we're like, I'm like, see, there are Tupperwares full of just stuff. We got to get rid of it.
Perfect.
And then he was like, well, we'll just go take it to the dumpster. He already let me throw it away. He's not going to like that we said that was all of it. So it was just like, what are we going to do? And I don't remember who suggested the backpacks, but I was just like, that's the best job we have.
Yeah.
We just walked right by. Yeah, it worked great.
You got away with it. He just decided he had.
It doesn't matter. Either way is we got away with it. I mean, whether it be he didn't know, which I find very unlikely, or that he knew and just decided to look the other way yet again, either way, he did not get in any more trouble. can't say the same thing about cable.
What?
So
If you name someone, this is a person.
Yeah.
If someone is named
No.
Cable,
Cable? No.
oh
I was
no
about to say, if you have the name Cable, you deserve it.
Mm-mm.
Like all the time.
No, cable, I mean in the very literal sense.
this is literally cable. I mean, kids nowadays they don't know what
Are
cable.
you guys talking about the time you stole Cable?
We did.
For who? For us or for
The whole
almost
floor.
everyone in the building, as it turns out?
How do you steal? Have for that many people?
It's a lot easier than it sounds. That's the worst part of this.
Monday Night Football on ESPN.
Fair enough.
We had the local channels.
Well, it was like remember it was a variety. So every day your channels got changed.
yeah, it was weird.
What?
So
That's
you would
involved.
they would throw you 5 channels.
Yeah.
And you'd be excited because one of them would be awesome. And then you'd wake up the next day.
It's back in the day whenever you had the flat screens, you had surge, like you had to do that
Yeah.
digital surge. thing.
Literally taking the remote and yeah.
So do you remember how we figured it out? Like how we found out that
So-
that's where we had to go?
Someone bought cable on another floor and they opened the closet.
Okay.
And then we were like, oh, well, it's got to be on the same thing. And when Steven went to go look, the strike plate on the doorknob is just destroyed, mangled, where people
Alright.
had gotten into this thing. And I'd like to think that there was just cable guys that are just like, oh, this key doesn't work, and they just broke in anyway. But
Yeah, let's go with that.
oh, they have to.
Yeah.
But I don't know where I was at, but I just get a phone call, and it's him and 3 other people in the room. You have to come up here right now. And we're like, okay, I'm coming. And I go up there, and Monday Night Football was on. I was like, oh my, thank you, Jesus. It was so good. It was just such a happy moment in my life. And I was just like, how'd you do it? And then he was like, after the game, I'll show you how I did it.
Yeah. So after the game, I did exactly that. What I did is I took a wire hanger, and it wasn't one of those flimsy wire hangers. It was one of the thick, the
Okay.
really strong ones.
Yeah.
And I just used snips and snipped the hook off,
Okay.
because as I found out, that was all you needed to get into this room. It had been so beat up that it allowed for some trial and error.
Oh, okay.
So I used this. All it took was taking that little hook, dropping it in behind the
right.
latch,
Yeah.
and just pull it. And it opened. But I mean, I went through several different steps, figuring out what was best, all that. So I chose a time that was not a high traffic time to break in and just see what I was dealing with. Okay?
Smart.
Yeah, scouting mission.
It's
Yeah.
And I came across the most ridiculous setup of all time.
I have something in my head, but you go ahead.
So you open this door, and I'm not kidding you when I say this little closet is enough room for me to stand sideways in and move my arms open, which is,
Right.
as it turns out, all you needed. There are 2 blocks of male.
Yeah, it looks like an old switchboard.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
on the bottom, and it's labeled. On the bottom, it was local only. And then on the top one, it was premium cable or pink cable or something like that. I was like, okay. And then I also realized that every single cable coax
Yeah.
is labeled on the cord as to what room it goes to. So I lock this away in my brain tank and I take off. And so I watch over the next few hours, when's going to be a good time to do it. I wait until about dinner time. NFL kicks off at 7. I go in, I pop in, and I'm not kidding you. It takes it's 15, 20 seconds.
Mhm.
Unscrew it, pop it up to the top, screw it in, walk out the door. You're done. Go back, search, and you've got everything. Everything.
It was just like that.
It was.
Wild.
So the crazy part of this was we got cable. We watched the game, and I explained to Jesse when it was just us in the room how it happened. And we waited until we realized exactly who we could trust.
Okay.
Okay, this is Ocean's 11 style stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, there should be a movie.
Sure.
So we realized the people we can trust, and we start bringing them into the fold. We say, hey, We know how to get your cable. We were running essentially a mop.
Yeah.
It was the cable.
You had a racket going.
Yeah. And I was like, we can get your cable. It's going to cost you.
Get you the good stuff.
Whether it be beer or other booze or stuff like that, right? So the people we can trust, we start running this. We start running this business of ours. And before you know it, we start realizing that, like, the people we can trust didn't say a word. No one said anything. And then we would kind of start talking to people and, like, betting. And by the time it was all said and done, like, everybody on the floor was cool. Everybody wanted cable. Everybody got it. We had so much alcohol. Like, I mean, it got to the we didn't have. So we used to call it going to the dirty. It was a 45-minute drive from Murray, Kentucky to Paris, Tennessee.
Okay.
The closest place you could go to get alcohol was Dry County. It's not anymore, but it was then. We were what, 3 months into being there? We never had to go again. People were just like, and we would keep like a list. We didn't want to like have a whole bunch of alcohol in the room at once. If we needed something, hey, you want to dirty? We got you. When we did the cable thing, boom, off they go and they come back with alcohol. It was crazy.
One-time fee?
One time.
Well, there was that one
you do
time
a monthly
where
subscription.
we got a
We
little
didn't need
big-headed on the order size.
Uh-huh.
All right.
We had to rock, paper, scissors as to who was going to drive down and help with the shipment.
Yeah.
And I lost.
Yeah. Jesse didn't win.
And I lost. It was paper over rock every time.
Yeah.
But that was an awkward ride. Because I think at that time, the guy that was picking up alcohol for everybody was not on our floor, I don't think.
No, he wasn't.
And he was an odd fella. So I was just like, well,
Yeah.
I should have done some.
Yeah.
But and that was a lot.
So now the third floor, we're all wired in, baby.
Right. Can I say something before you go?
Sure.
If it makes you feel probably the most innocent use for a coat hanger at a U.S. college in the history of U.S. college.
Right.
Ah.
So now
Get out.
So now we've got we're pretty well connected
Yeah.
to every floor of this. So some girls on the 5th floor were like, hey, we've seen what you've done for them. We'd like it done for us. Deal. So I go up there, see if the door works the same. It absolutely does. It was not nearly as boogered up as ours, but it worked. Like the process worked on every single floor. I was running this thing like I was doing 2-3 times a week for like a month and a half. Like I'm doing this. So finally, the only person on our floor, or one of the only people on our floor who didn't have it, needed it. And I got cocky.
Here we go.
So Jesse was my outside man. Right?
Right.
So what I would do is I'd pop into the room, shut the door. Okay? It was perfectly fine. You could open it from the inside, you couldn't open it from the outside. So the deal was pop in, on the cable, give the door a little knock. Jesse would give the wall a little knock. That tells me I'm safe. Walk out.
It was a full-on operation.
It was a full-on operation. Well,
People say that college can teach you anything about entrepreneurship.
yeah. So this is sure Jesse had a knife. And this guy was like, he had already gone south. He already had the alcohol. And he was like, there's something I desperately want to watch tonight. Can you hook me up? I was like, what time does it start? Because I wanted Jesse to be my guy.
Yeah.
And he was like, 6 to 8, you were at the lab.
Yeah.
It started at like 6:30.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, here's the deal. You're going to have to be the outside guy. You got to do it.
Yeah.
And he was like, no problem. I walk him through. I show him what we're going to do. Blah, blah, blah. So I go in, shut the door, boom, put his cable on, knock on the door, nothing. I was like, you dirty dog. Knock on the door again, nothing. At this point, I've only sat there for like 5 minutes, and it's tight. Like, it's hot. I'm like sweating. It's like every good heist movie when somebody's trying to break into the safe. And I knock again, and nothing. And I'm like, this guy bounced.
Yeah.
So now I've got to hope for the best. I open the door hoping for the best, find the worst. The resident director, who had, 2 months before, caught us with a whole mess of alcohol.
Yeah, he was
standing
making the
right
rounds.
outside.
Yeah. I know. I did not just see you doing that.
Yeah. So now I have to pull like an 8-hour deal at the front desk checking cards. That was the worst thing that happened. At this point, I had gotten cable probably on average 10 people per floor. It's like 7 for the people living there. And so I'm checking these cards. And he told me, whenever it's done. And I had to do it was like midnight to 8 in the morning. It wasn't a like, oh, you're going to kick your feet up like during the day kind of deal. No, I was getting up. So while I finish up, and I'm done checking cards, and he was like, just so you know, like today they're scheduled, everything's getting fixed. This stuff's not going to fly. And I was like, okay. So we go to class, we come back, and at this point, I look at Jess and I was like, I got to see what they did. Like, I got to see, I wanted to get back in.
Well,
I just wanted to know I could get back. I couldn't. They had put the most commercial steel stripe plate on this thing, so you could not get back in. They did it for every single food. And I know what you're thinking. Like, man, that sucks. You went that long with cable. They didn't switch it back.
Yeah, they never switched it back.
They locked everything in there. No one got their cable taken away because they locked it up. It was a different contractor than who was the cable person. They lock it all up, and we enjoyed cable the rest of the school year.
Then there was 2 weeks later when we were sitting there eating late at night, and we look at each other and we're like, "Oh shit, what's going to happen when the cable guy shows up at the end of the year?"
We never found out.
They know, and we're like, so I don't remember the exact plan, but I remember spending the rest of the night formulating an escape plan. Figuring out how we were going to break. I'm pretty sure we watched plenty of YouTube videos on how to break into that exact lock. So we could at least go on our floor and be like, okay, well, we're going to turn all these off. And then it was one last mission, right? And we just never did that. It's not like I guess it just never crossed our mind.
It's premium.
It was expensive.
It was $60 a month at that time. In 2010, that was a lot of money.
So I thought about it again. I made a mistake.
Here we go.
Second to last day that we were going to be at Murray,
Yeah.
A buddy of mine from our floor and I played drunk scavenger hunt.
All right.
Where we both had to drink a fifth of 100 proof Captain Morgan before we started the scavenger hunt.
Great way to start.
And then we were allowed to start the scavenger hunt. So there was nothing was going on after that. Wow. So
it was a good time.
It was a good time.
We hit a lot of things.
We did.
There were a lot of very dumb things. We hit them.
So Jesse, while we were there, I want you to tell us about our pet fish.
It's a good story, but it's also has a tragic ending.
As most fish stories do.
So I'm there, and I'm trying to figure out where am I going to go fishing? Because when I had night classes, that was the only class I had. So from the morning until 6 o'clock at night, I had all day. And I was like, well, I got to figure out where I fish it. So we found this park, and they stock trout. And I tell Steven about it. He's like, let's go. We'll go to park. Let's figure it out. So we go, we get our fishing license, we go up there, and we just slam. It's just one after another with just corn on a hook. That's all it takes. It's like, dip it in the water, pull one out. Dip it in the water, pull one out. So anyway, I was like, there's a spare aquarium at the house back home. I could and we already were told that we could have fish. It was for sure. They said as long as it can't walk on land, it was okay. And I was like, well, this thing can't walk on land.
That's all we needed.
That's all we needed to hear. And I was like, you know what? I think one of these things was throw in a fish tank. It would be awesome. It would be a little mascot. So that's exactly what I did. I brought it home and I carried everything we needed, one trip after another up the elevators. And then the funny thing was we kept fishing all day because I was like, we need a smaller one. We can't go full like adult trout. And so we kept fishing. We just kept catching larger ones. And I'm like, yesterday or the day before, whenever it was, we caught tons of what we needed. Now we can't. So I was finally like, hey, we can't come back here. Like we're going to have to do this. So we took that trout and like 3 gallons of what I thought was either old gallon alcohol bottles that we just filled up with lake water and then brought it back up there. And so he just hung out with his mouth open for weeks. Couldn't get him to eat. And I was like, well, he's going to die. Well, unfortunately, starvation would have been a consolation prize because where it was the I want to say it was the basketball championships. It was Duke and Butler. I want to say 2011. And somehow, some way, everybody ended up in our room. But there was this new guy. Yeah, there was this new guy, and he had moved in with a guy we were real cool with, but he was a douche. And so he showed up. We weren't really happy about it, but whatever. There's a bunch of people that were drinking, having a good time. And I walk out for a minute. I think Steven walked out for a minute, and then I come back, and the next day, the fish is just floating in there, and I'm like, "What in the fuck just happened here?" Like,
You can say that.
yeah. Well, you know what? It was funnier when you spell it, Aaron. Learn comedy, okay? So anyway, we're like, "What the hell?" And I don't know if it was you or me. That it was just like something's off here. Someone like came in and was like, this guy, he poured like 3 beers in the tank of the fish, essentially choking it to death. And I was like, this was the first straw, and I think unleashed like an all-out war against this guy. It was he was the worst because he was also the guy that had this chick that because I'm a 3 o'clock in the morning have to go pee guy.
Sure.
I wake up and I walk into the restroom, and there's 2 showers, and then between the 2 showers there's a bathtub with a shower, and it just had a curtain. And I walk in and I just see a girl who's got both legs across both sides of the bathtub, just as relaxed as could be, just peeing into the bathtub. And I was like, oh, sorry. And she's like, oh no, you're fine. I'm like, but you're not. What are you doing? And so then I catch her doing this several times in both bathrooms.
Wild.
In the middle of the night. I'm like, Steven, there is this chick, and she is taking a piss in the bathtub, spread apart like you ain't never seen. And just okay with it. Just fine. I'm catching her all the time. And then I can't remember who it was like, dude, have you seen this chick that pisses in the bathtub? And we're like, yeah, who is this person? Well, it's this guy who killed my fish. It's his girlfriend. And then
Maybe that's why he killed the fish.
Spread eagle pisser there today.
I'm telling you right now, if he collected that girl's urine and put that in my fish tank, I'm gonna be so fucking mad. But it was just so weird. Like just ruined my day. It was just not good. But there was something else that he did that just pissed us off.
He destroyed the.
Was that him?
Yes, it was him.
Oh, because we found out it was him. It was like in a weird roundabout way. We had heard.
Find destroy.
Okay, so there was this girl that lived on the 5th floor. She was really cool. And she's like, I have this ex-boyfriend that's really crazy, and I got away from him. Well, then we found out like 2 weeks later that he hit her.
Ooh.
Okay, we have never seen this person in our life. We don't know what he looks like. We just know his first name. And then months later, this guy moves in, and I think she came up to the floor and she was like, "Oh my God, he's here." And we're like, "Oh yeah, that's so and so," and she's like, "That's him."
Yeah.
And he got so drunk one night and threw a fit just seeing her. He destroyed all of the stalls in the bathroom. Yeah. So they were made of marble. The stalls were made of marble in a college dorm. Marble. Yeah. And this dude goes through and they're just literally broken in half. All of them. The Wi-Fi. The worst part was yeah, they're just hanging upright. Yeah. But the worst thing he did was that the Wi-Fi hubs were the ones that were like up in the ceiling. He went through and ripped them out of the ceiling just on our floor.
Oh, that's fighting. That's
Yeah.
immediate fighting.
And then moved out without us knowing, like 2 days later.
Yeah.
And then
figure out who did it.
Yeah, then we found out he was at a party somewhere. And I don't know. That was bad. Because he was going to go kill the guy. Because we didn't have fucking Wi-Fi.
I mean, Wi-Fi's pretty.
But also, he hit this woman that we liked. So
Yeah.
it was like, yeah, well,
Someone.
We never found out for sure. Someone punched a hole in the plaster wall on our floor.
Oh. Okay. I thought you were going to say the night someone
We listen.
threw this guy like out of a window or down a flight of
No,
stairs.
so this
or
person-
something.
I can only assume that the person who punched the hole found out where he was.
Yeah.
Somebody told that person, was like, hey, this guy is not far away at this party.
Right.
And that guy was like, well, let's go get him. And immediately went Rage Against the Machine.
We should see if we can get that guy on the podcast.
We should see if we can get that guy on the podcast.
He sounds like a bundle of joy, personally.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a bundle, all right.
So I remember the guy who punched the hole.
Yeah.
Because he was like, no, that wasn't me. It's crazy. And then everyone on the floor had to go. There's only one person who.
Oh
has,
God,
like,
we
natural
didn't.
height of where their
We
arm is.
denied it. We all denied it. We all got on board. We're like, look, we're not going to get Steven in trouble. Just deny it.
Well,
Well, is there
And
a
then
hole in
finally
the
they were like, well, so either someone fesses up or we're all going to check IDs in the middle of the night. We're like, oh my God. Like, and we were like, Steven was like, Colin, I did.
Yeah.
And Colin goes, Steven, I know you did it. He said, come with me. And of course, his room's right next to ours. The hole is directly outside of our doorway. First clue. Second is he goes, Steven, hold your fist up. And he held it up and it was straight armed right into this hole. And he goes, that's how I knew it was you because not one other person on this floor could do that. And he was like, shit. He was like, but thank you for telling the truth. And we didn't get in trouble, but it was hilarious. It was like a key in a hole. It was just like we lost it forever. We found this key and it was just like just right into the. But the other part was Steven, it was plaster. Okay. I don't know if you've ever punched plaster. I don't think Steven's punched plaster since because it's a lesson hard learned. Yeah. So not only is there a cushion behind it, but it's extremely hard. And he punched the hole. His girlfriend at the time, I'm drunk, and then she sobers me up because Jesse. His whole hand's broken. The entire hand. All of it. It's all broken. And I'm like, whoa. What's going on? And I looked down at just blood. I was like, listen, just clean it up. It's just a little bloody. I was like, if we wake up and it's swollen or whatever, then maybe we might take him to the hospital. Maybe. But it's fine. She is flipping out. It was like, no, the whole hand's broken. All of it's broken. I was like, it's fine. It's fine. And then I'm realizing, like, shit, I'm sober. And then Steven falls asleep. We're just like, with his hand, maybe broken hand, just hanging off the side. And his girl, you probably don't remember this. I only do, unfortunately, that she kept putting her hand back up on your chest. It kept falling off the side of the bed. So then I'm once drunk, not drunk anymore, sober, and I'm awake all night because she's like, and she's going over there and putting your fucking arm back on your chest because you keep throwing it off the side of the bed. She's like, it's going to get worse, Jesse. And I'm like, I'm trying to sleep. Leave me alone. Okay. His hand's not broken. It was, God, when you put your hand in that hole, it was so funny. He's like, that's how I knew. 2 weeks. We played hardball, Colin, the whole time.
Everyone on the floor hated this guy.
Also, you got the cake.
Also,
They had cable and drank a lot of our alcohol. So it's,
yeah. So, but once they said it's like everybody on the floor is going to have issues, I was like, I can't do that. Although it wouldn't have been a huge ask considering.
no, and honestly, looking back, it wasn't that big of a punishment.
No, everything in the past when you're young.
You're just like, fuck, we could have done that.
Yeah.
We should have just kept going.
So speaking of holes and walls, when we went on spring break, so Jesse didn't go. It was me, my girlfriend, and then some of our friends and their girlfriend.
Okay.
Friends. Were you dating anybody at the time?
I think it was, but
Were you still at that? Yeah, you would have still been at that point.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so you would have gone home.
But spring break was on a weird week, and I don't remember what happened, but I couldn't go.
Yeah. So he went home. So we go to Myrtle Beach, and we are just, it's college spring break. I got so drunk on tequila one night, I was taking a shower and fell. The only thing I could grab a hold of was the shower curtain.
Yeah.
And rather than it just ripping the shower, this isn't a condo, by the way. Like, it's like we rented a condo.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of the shower curtain just like tearing off of the hooks, the whole bar with the drywall hangers came out of the wall.
I mean, those hooks aren't fun.
So I know. So the next morning, I'm like, all right, somebody needs to go to Lowe's or Home Depot and get me drywall mud
Yeah.
and a sanding block. I'm going to fix this, and then we're going to reattach the curtain. So they did, and we did this like no one knew. Like no one knew. And then my girlfriend at the time was stupid. Left the receipt out on the countertop because here's the thing.
Was this the one that couldn't say fridge?
Yeah. So
She couldn't say refrigerator.
What?
yeah, you
How
don't
do I
remember
not
that?
remember that?
Me,
Sorry, I have to.
I remember
as
her.
a 12-year-old, taught her how to say refrigerator.
What? Okay, how did she just not say it, or how did she say it?
I can't remember, but I know that it was bad because it was.
How do I not remember this?
15
I would have
minutes.
totally made fun of her
We
for
were
it.
driving back to my grandparents' house. She was in the front seat. Steven was driving. I was in the back seat. And for 10, 15 minutes of this ride, I was yelling at her from the back seat. That's not how you say refrigerator. You say it like this. And then she'd say it bad again. And then I'd yell at her again.
Okay. All right. So anyway, she
Yes.
left the receipt out.
So she left the receipt on the countertop. And then I had to deal with someone that gave it me because they knew my history. It was like, what's this for? And I was like, oh, very simple explanation. I was taking a shower last night, and whenever I moved the curtain out of the way, like the shower curtain was like coming out of the wall. Evidently it was like a really crappy patch job somebody had done in the past.
Or the really crappy one that was just done.
Yeah.
Patch job was done. And I was like, no one's gonna like if I don't fix it, if I don't at least make an attempt to fix it, like no one's gonna buy that like that had happened before, that it was just missing an inspection.
Right.
So I was like, so I patched it all up, I got it all smooth, I got the rod hung back up, and everything was fine. And they're like, oh, cool, thanks for taking care of that. No problem.
Yeah, not a problem at all.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Thanks. Don't ever call me.
Now I'm pretty sure that every single person that was on that trip is with someone. They're not with the same people they were on the trip with, and every single one of them are parents. We all took part in this. College was fun.
Yeah.
I wonder why it didn't last. I wonder why that one didn't take.
It couldn't have been any of those things.
Couldn't have been.
What a time. What a time to be alive it was.
And that's just the tip of the
Well,
iceberg.
cameras were all over the place.
Thank God.
You wouldn't have gotten away with anything.
That
you
would have
just said.
been so rough.
Yeah, like I'm glad that we went when we did.
That would have been
Because
so
it was
bad.
technologically advanced enough that we had goals, but not so technologically advanced we had to make those goals a reality through something other than ill-gotten gains.
It's a lot easier to be a criminal the further you go back.
Yeah,
Think about it. Like 100 years.
Oh, there was a lot of missed opportunities by a lot of people.
Yeah. It's like you just shoot somebody in the face, and if someone doesn't see you do it, then you're good.
yeah, or if you're just not there when the police show up.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Like
Dang, we just missed him by 4 days.
Have you heard?
they'll draw a little chalk outline on the floor. They'll take his body away, and then they'll look at the blood and be like, "Get that out of here." Disgusting. Yeah. Like slipped in it.
He's like they show up, they're looking at the crime scene, and somebody comes in and like, wow, look at all this blood. The detective goes, gross. On to my hunch.
I mean,
Joke, he says, like, leave their calling. They'd be like, this was such and such and the boys. And like, they're
Yeah.
gone. As long as they're not there.
they can't do anything. You can get away with anything.
So who's got a time machine?
I mean,
You just long to be a criminal.
yeah.
I mean,
It sounds like a good time, at least for a little while.
Oh yeah, just dip your toes in the water.
I mean,
You
think
can
about
come back and
We did. We stole cable. We were heist artists.
it. Okay, but think about
okay.
it.
So if we're looking at hierarchies of criminal activity, I think murder is way higher. Like it's like you're looking at a mountain and you cannot see the top. Murder's up there, and cable is down like chest height. It's like a rock that fell off the top and tumbled down and broke several times on the way down.
The world with no risk of consequences.
Martial law.
There's no risk of consequences as long as you have half a brain. There's zero risk.
And some people did have half a brain on account of the rampant diseases that killed them all.
Yeah, but I'm talking like not that far back, but far enough back there's not DNA and there's not cancer.
That's not
Whoa. You just said not DNA. Are you talking about in general? You're going back to the Big Bang. It's going to be rough for you there.
Blood's useless. Fingerprints are useless. Like,
oh, yeah,
you can just do whatever you.
Who was the guy that just was like, you know what? We leave fingerprints behind.
I don't know. Fuck that guy.
Like not a whole, like, you know, we like, oh, we find footprints, but there's a handprint and then there's little lines in there. And you're just like, you know, people's hands are so greasy that I bet that I could figure out who that is based on the grease lines on this table. Who is that guy? And if he doesn't have a Nobel Prize, the whole system's fucked.
I mean, the thing that bothers me is they say everyone's fingerprints are good. But how do you know? Because you haven't tested them. There's got to be some replication somewhere.
Aaron, do you know when you go do important things and they take your fingerprint?
Yeah, but think about it.
They've tested them all.
No, they haven't tested the people.
You remember when you're a baby and they literally take your footprint and handprint before you leave the hospital?
States.
That's.
Think about Nigeria. You think they're worried about that? They're like, put a net over this child.
Okay, listen to me. Murder is the last thing they're worried about. Lions, other things that just eat them while they're, I don't know, sleeping or just hanging out. That's a big issue.
Here you go. It's Marcello Malpighi in 1686 examined fingerprints under a microscope and noted a series of ridges and loops.
What if you had a ringworm? Really throw it all off.
Yeah, this guy's got a raging staph infection in his stink finger. I wonder how he got that.
Well, I'm going to do one last story with Jesse here. Well, we haven't even really talked about the sandwiches yet.
We haven't talked about sandwiches, but I have a really quick story because this is one of the funniest things that I can recount to people all the time. So the bathrooms in our dorm floor, there was one good bathroom occasionally. The other one always had water on the floor. There was always water on the floor. If you wanted to use one of those bathroom stalls, you had to pull up the pants. You had to just wear them around your knees because otherwise you were going to have soaking wet pants. There was always water on the floor. So we filed, a couple of us like, hey, if we put in a maintenance request, maybe someone will come up and fix it. So we did. Apparently, they did not like that at all. So all of a sudden, randomly, the RD was like, "Hey, we got to have a meeting on this floor only. Like we have to get together." So we all meet up in the hallway or wherever the hell we were at. He was like, "All right, man, I don't know what this is I'm hearing about, but which one of y'all is pooping on the floor and leaving it?"
What?
Yeah,
I think me and Steven looked at each other and started laughing. And he's like, "This is serious." We're like looking at each other. We're like, someone really taking a shit on the floor and leaving it? Because I haven't seen a shit on the floor. I feel like I'd see a shit on the floor. Like, you like, you know, I mean, oh yeah. I mean, it don't take a drug dog to find a big, large shit on the floor, right? So we're like looking around and we're like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I just talked to the maintenance staff and they have told me on multiple occasions, we're not talking a one-time shitter. This is a multiple serial shitter. Have clean shit off the floor. And we're looking around at each other. We're like, who among us is pooping on the floor? And we're finally like looking at each other and he's like, do you guys have anything to say? And he clearly have to look at us saying, we're like, no one's pooping on the floor.
For a few reasons. One, because Jess and I are laughing.
Oh my God. I had such a hard time. I had to have been purple. I mean, there's no way.
These all floor meetings stemmed from something that either happened in Jesse and I's room or because of Jesse and I's room or
other people participated and it ended up just falling on us.
Yeah.
But he's dead serious that these people have like you guys are shitting on the floor, and they are cleaning it up. And we're like, we just looked at him and we're like, no one has ever shit on the floor no one has ever shit on the floor. He's like, well, how could you know? Someone could shit. And then everybody looks at me and they're like, well, Jesse goes pee in the night every night. And I'm like, I'm here to tell you, I have not witnessed one rogue turd anywhere in either of these bathrooms. I'm telling you, there's never no one. I said, if someone pooped on the floor, they pooped on the floor, said ha ha ha, and then the person came in and cleaned it up, and we never heard about it. It was that quick. He was like, so y'all aren't pooping on the floor. We're looking at each other and we're like, no, we are not intentionally taking a shit on the only bathrooms we have to go to.
Right.
He's like, well, clean up the bathrooms. And he just walked out. And we were like, I just looked at Steven and I was like, did you shit on the floor? He's like, did you shit on the floor? We laughed about that for a week. I could not get over that. And I think it was maybe a year later that the South Park episode where someone pooped in the urinal came out. And I immediately called Steven and was like, dude, this cannot be.
It's in middle school, I swear, every year there was one urine that was down for like 6 months of the year because someone took a shit.
Oh yeah,
Every year.
like the week after that aired,
Yeah.
there was a bathroom shut down.
Oh, yeah.
someone shit.
Every year. One urinal, and they wrap it in cardboard and then put plastic from the wall all the way around.
And there's still a turd in there. There's still a turd in there just hanging out. They're like,
it almost looked like every time someone would do it, they'd shit in it and they just put cardboard over it and then plastic it off and be like, that's fine.
it's so funny because they've cleaned the shit off of everything else in that bathroom,
Yeah.
but there's one open air shit in there, and they're like, nope, no, wait, I don't do this.
The poop's not going to go that far. You could just, if you had the right attitude, just yank that thing out of there and that urinal's back in business.
Listen, I don't think that the genders set a reminder on their phone to just like, if we flush this once a day for a year, maybe this
Enough particulate
Yeah,
comes off each
enough
shot.
of this shit will come off and we never have to pick it up.
Well,
It's
if it
natural
stays long enough,
erosion.
it's going to crystallize.
Well,
That's how we got
you
the
got a whole nother problem.
It's just,
Did you guys ever have a shit thrower? Like ever,
What?
ever in your school days?
Why do you just
they
make
would-
Oh,
that
you mean
sound
a
so
person-
casual?
Okay, I was gonna say you're gonna really
Not
throw
like-
some details
Not
out
like
there.
walk into class with a milky shit and just swing.
Milky, I feel like that's draining through
I was
your
gonna say he really.
Like when you guys were in school, usually when it happened was like 4th grade to 9th grade. We had like 2 different. I'm saying between those 2 years. there were
Someone at
two
Oak Hill wrote on the stall with shit one time. I remember.
called to the gymnasium. Everybody, all fucking.
oh yeah.
We're all there. And they had blown up photographs. Wait, shit. On the walls in the stall. And
I just see somebody with a laser pointer.
You can
I'm pretty sure they had one of those.
This
aluminum-
is excrement.
They had one of those little aluminum extensions that they more.
Just slaps it.
the pictures. It's got the yard like.
We are gonna be.
Get serious by like bringing the school cup in.
They stop.
Standing there, hands. They do.
As they do.
And all these kids are like, what do we do? And they pull out these slides of just shit.
I can say we never had a poop thrower. We did have someone who wrote a bomb threat on a stall.
Yeah, that was what it was.
Why? And the athletic director's assistant or whoever it was had the greatest explanation of it. She said, quote, I don't think it's a serious, this is what she said, like, this is in passing. This wasn't like in front of cameras. Microphone. She said, I don't think it's a legitimate threat. I do think, however, we have a board pooper.
Okay, now that we're talking memory, there was
His Facebook memories just went off.
There was a kid, and this was all 3 years in middle school, because he was the same age, and he was special, I should say. And this starts in 6th grade, ends in 8th grade. I'm telling you, in 6th grade, this kid was like 6.5 feet tall, like 300 pounds, bright red hair, and very, very special, and very angry at like key moments. Like you say the wrong thing, and this kid's going ape shit. So the special ed room is at the end of the hall on a different floor,
where it should be.
yeah, separated from everyone else. And random days at random times, he would get loose.
He would get loose.
Yes,
We're cooked. Thanks for tuning in to Woah.
Yeah. This is a cool episode while it lasted.
This ogre would get loose.
Was there an alarm?
He made his own alarm. It's more in class. So diagram of this school. So on the far end, there's a single floor, and that's 6th grade. You walk down a very long hall, and on the left is your art classes, on the right is the cafeteria. You keep going down, on your right is the gym, and then you go down to the end of the hall, where there's the top floor, which is 7th grade, and then 8th grade is on the floor beneath it.
All right.
So you know when he got out. Because you'd be in class and you'd hear him running down the hallway at full bore. You'd hear his big old feet slapping on the floor, and then you'd hear him full fist punching every locker that came between him and where his destination was. And you'd come out of class with like fist imprints in lockers all the way down the hall. This kid was a menace.
There were so many dents.
In the hall, you're in an entryway, which half your classes are on the right, half your classes are on the left. The middle is the bathroom. And there's lockers down every wall. There's so many targets for this kid to hit. And he's just, and you'd be like, what is going on? And they'd be like, you got out again. And it was wild.
Punching lockers and eating blue. That's what this kid is about.
Yeah.
You want to know how they kept him in there? Is that they just always kept his shoes
He had a
untied.
ring.
They were always untied. And then one day some assistant was like, oh, here, I'll tie your shoes. And that was all it took.
Yeah, it was like some woman coming in
He had
to
a
learn
ring.
how to be a teacher.
There was a large black man that wrangled this kid every time he got out. And he was in charge of the special ed.
The unit.
I mean,
The unit.
yeah.
Golly gee.
I mean, like he would come to our table sometimes because he was a cool dude, and not the kid, the guy that was the
Oh,
Okay.
He would come and sit at the table, and the kid would come by every once in a while, and sometimes he'd try to say something, and people would talk back to him in a manner that you'd expect, like real slow. And this black dude would be like, "Hey, talk to him like he's normal. He's got to learn somehow." I was like, Jesus Christ.
Okay, how did you
Looking out
not?
for him.
Listen,
This was a different era.
this may be a really bad take.
All right.
How did they not get that kid
On the football team.
field?
Oh, he would have killed him. That's
just hit them and then proceeded to murder them.
Just
in
be
the
like,
chair.
like the other.
Everybody in a jersey, shoot your lockers.
There was a kid, this was in Knoxville, there was a kid that went to a school like an hour, and he played football. It was 8th grade. He was 6'8",
What?
like 350. No, because I was the biggest kid in the entire school, obviously.
And then here it comes.
And I would go out on the field, and this kid made me look tiny. Like, he looked like he made the coaches look bad.
Yeah, because that's a. Did
There
anyone
was-
check his birth certificate?
And obviously, if he's on the field, then I have to be
Where he
with him.
is.
Yeah, obviously.
So you guys
It's
need
not
to
a good look.
take each other's time.
There was a time, it was kickoff. He was at the far end. They put me at the far end to get that kid.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess this is what I get for bullying all those other small kids. And I get,
It's exactly what you get.
I go like bigger fish, real life bigger fish situation. I go full bore, lower my shoulder, hit this kid. It was like two worlds collide. We hit at low. We
Right.
both come straight up. Neither of us go down. And then we try to separate, and we had cracked both of our helmets, and they were looped together. So we couldn't. We couldn't.
That happened to
get
me
away.
one time. That the face masks get so
Uh-huh.
tangled together they won't
Yeah.
come apart.
Well, it blew off the side of my helmet.
Yeah, and then they interlock, and you can't.
And we were yanking.
It's like a Chinese finger trap at the worst
you can't
time.
Get out.
Do you remember junior year when we were playing against Memorial?
Hey,
and one of the kids on Memorial's team's shoulder pad got caught in my face mask?
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life.
We could not.
It was the top part. It was the top part, and it literally was like someone just was like, "Here, how can I fuck this up?" And it was caught in there. And Steven's just getting like, "What the hell am I going to do?" And we're like, "Stop!
So,
we didn't know what happened because it just happened so fast.
Yeah. So I remember that. Yeah.
We couldn't get the guys. We were like, "Stop!"
I was losing.
He was like, "What are you doing to me?" And I was like, "Steven, his helmet, I don't know how this happened, but the pads are stuck in your helmet." And it took like two of us. One of us had to hold the helmet. The other one had to pry on the pads. And then they just like separated really fast. We were just all looking at each other so confused.
Because you started fighting so much, we were like, has this animal been caged before?
Well, it was so confused. We were all baffled. We were just like, how?
Yeah, so
the physics don't make sense.
So funny thing, Max, that particular team was not a fan of me.
No, anyone from this era was not a fan, which is a pretty common trend.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm saying from the era that he tells these stories from, nobody likes it.
No. But that was good.
An animal.
I was an animal.
Yeah. You were kind of like the locker.
That was
more ways than one.
Their quarterback, who me and him ended up becoming friends later on in life.
Oh, Carl's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just wasn't good. We won.
Yeah.
I mean, now that I think I have all crazy, especially middle school stories. Like the girl that was in my class at the pimp roster.
Come again?
Okay, this would have to be the last story.
This girl was so weird, I almost want to shout her name.
No, please don't do that.
I'm not going to. She was.
Go ahead, and then I'm going to close this out.
She came elementary, so we knew her already. I'll give her first. Her name was Kate.
Oh, that's a great story.
She lived in a trailer.
Getting better?
Say no more.
Would frequently talk about how she would sleep in the trees because the hyenas. What?
Is this a trailer in a zoo?
All of her teeth were mangled somehow, whether facing the wrong direction or not the right color.
You shouldn't put barbed wire in your food.
Well, some of them had holes like straight through. Like straight through the center.
Please tell me someone tied some kind of
one
string.
day in class, she left her notebook while she went to the bathroom. Someone looked at it.
Yeah.
And it said at the top, titled, "Boys I'd Like to Bang for Money."
For money?
And then it had a list of classmates. The full page.
Where were you?
I don't remember. I didn't look at it.
How much?
He was dead last. He was dead last.
My friend John said, looked at it.
Highest price.
Like he's literally a nickel, and she would be like, maybe not.
And she had 2 pages. One for money and one for free.
Oh.
And John looked at it, and he goes, "Yo, everybody, she's got a pimp roster." And yeah, we were. And obviously all the other things.
Well, so how was the blowjob?
Wasn't great.
There
was whore. I mean, a hooker.
You just described her.
No, different. She was Asian. She wore 8-inch heels to 8th grade.
Whoa.
And she would suck dudes off behind the school all the time. I had weird
talent. Honestly, talent. We cannot unrecognize that.
Anything? No.
I was saying, I don't know. Type it in. You can probably find it.
So that reminds me. I wanted to close this out, but that just made me think of I think it was freshman year math class with Jesse. So we are taking finals, and Jesse, I would say you were very meticulous going through tests, right? He always did very well on them, but he wanted to make sure that he double and triple checked everything. I was kind of fire from the hip and go through, and I always got it done pretty quick.
Right.
Which is fine. I mean, everybody takes tests at different speed. So I would be done before Jesse. Well, this is like the second to last day of school. To the point where, like, if you had Jim, your lockers cleaned out, you got your locks, like, you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
This was also a period of time where it was very popular to have lanyards.
Oh yeah.
I love lanyards.
Take
So
one out of the pocket lanyard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, if you didn't have them out of your pocket, if you wore them around your neck, you were just
So Jesse had a Philadelphia Eagles lanyard.
Wild. Right.
So I finished my test, and I'm like, I'm going to cause some kind of trouble. I just don't know what it is. So Jesse would always finish, like, probably in the top 25%, like, in terms of speed. So
Okay.
whenever he gets done with the test, like, there's still quite a few people working.
Yeah.
So I'm going to strike before he gets done. So I don't even remember. There's no way I can pull this off again. Jesse was so, like, head down into this test. It was too easy. And I took his lanyard, and I looped it through his belt. Okay? And then I put the key in through the loop so that was like it was connected.
Yeah.
Right?
But the chair had the rail between it.
And it was
Yeah. There wasn't it wasn't all in one.
keys and the keychain.
I have to get a lock.
Yeah, and he slowly unbuckled the lanyard from my keys that were in my pocket.
Yeah. So do all this so I can use the keychain and the rails and lock them together with my lock. So I lock them, I spin it real quick, and I just like, I swear to you, I don't know how I pulled this off. But I get back to my seat, and I'm sitting there, I'm watching, just looking at Jesse. Like, come on, finish your test. Please finish your test. He finishes and just stands up.
And it was a high speed come apart. The whole lanyard operation just completely, and it made the loudest noise of all time. And I'm just like, oh.
So he's smart, I'm going to throw up.
I think I out loud said, oh, shit.
The math teacher who knew me very well, immediately, you're going. So I go outside. I have to stand outside, and I am still laughing out there that I'm distracting people from taking the test. So she comes outside, and she was like, you have to stop. Like, you're laughing so hard that you're distracting these people. What is still so funny that you're out here laughing? And I was like, you threw me out of the class, and I'm the only one who knows the combination.
Yeah. Because they blamed it on the who was sitting behind me. I can't remember who was sitting behind me. They blamed it on him. And I was like, give me the combination. And he's like, it's not my lock. And I'm like, come on.
Sure it isn't.
And they're like, he's like, it's not my lock. It's not my lock. And I'm like, you're the only person who could have done it without me knowing, because it had to have been the person right behind me, right? I'm like, he's like, dude, it's not my lock. And I'm like, just unlock it, or I'm going to just kill you. Like, it's not yeah, like I will. And so then I'm like, okay, well, I guess I lost this lanyard. I like unclicked it from my keys. I'm like, well, this lanyard's gone. Like, and then Steven's just out there laughing. He comes in laughing. He laughed the entire time he unlocked it.
And you know what the best part of all of it was? She didn't make me go back. And she allowed me to stay in the class.
Yeah, she was like, oh, well, yeah. Because she even came and asked me. She's like, is that Steven's lock? I don't know.
All it was initial.
All I was going to do is stand up and give you my damn test. Like, it was so loud. Because, I mean, I stood up with purpose.
Yeah.
And the whole chair actually lifted.
You had a test. I mean, you had things.
I know. I didn't
I-
triple check that math test. It had to be right.
So
Had to be wrong. You just didn't know.
I vote we do this again. We got
Yes.
Jesse back on
I mean,
Because-
we could continue talking
forever.
6 more hours.
So tune in next week. We're gonna have Sluice on our the band that we're using music from. This next weekend, or the recording, be released a week from the release date of this on Wednesday, and then after that, we might have to get you back in here. We're gonna have not Mike.
Yeah.
We got to get you back in.
I will return.
So
It will happen.
So thank you, Jesse, for jumping on with this band of idiots. I mean this as a compliment. You fit right in.
Yep.
Yeah, this was fun. Thanks to Max and Aaron for keeping the thing going while I was gone.
You mean
semi? Yeah, for doing one episode while I was gone.
Hey, 50-50.
That's not
Technically, we did 2
There can be no weak links. Just you got it done.
We only aired one because one was terrible.
Yeah. So yeah, I was over in St. Louis for the last almost 4 weeks. So glad to be back. Glad to be back going. Jesse, thanks again for jumping on. This was a lot of fun. I'm Steven.
It's Darren.
And Max.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.